Man, I just love Mario games. I wonder where they all started. Oh.
The year was a long time before 2014, and video games were not doing too well, because Atari said, you know what would be funny? It made a bajillion copies of games no one wanted.
What do you mean a million people aren't gonna buy ET on Atari? What's wrong with these people?
The market was simply flooded with garbage games to the point where many retailers just said screw it and stopped selling video games altogether. That was until the NES rolled around, and it set out to change that. Instead of being marketed as an electronic nightmare, it was instead marketed as a toy, and with that simple change to marketing, the console became a huge success. But what also helped was with what the console launched with, Super Mario Bros. 1. This wasn't the first video game, to be fair, but I would argue that this is the first modern video game. It's the first game I can think of that I can actually stomach playing. Adventure on Atari? Screw that crap. Mario 1?
It's okay.
But just being okay is more than enough to start a legacy. Not just for Nintendo, but Mario as a whole. So let's take a deeper dive into how this game just does not age that well. The game is a 2D platformer featuring 8 worlds with 4 levels and an admirable amount of content for the time. But there were some corners being cut to fit all of this into NES, especially this early on into the console's life. The game visually is just not too pretty, even by NES standards. The game just does not look like a Mario game in all honesty. Everything looks super weird and off. There's also only 5 level themes. You got your basic above ground levels with no gimmicks, and the underground levels, which are underground.
Really?
You got the athletic stages, as they're often called, with a bunch of platformers and tricky jumps. The underwater stages that make me never want to drink water again, and the castle stages, lava-filled gauntlet that aren't very fun to go through. I mean, those are stages, I'll give the game that. They can still be kind of fun today, but parts of this game's level design just do not age well, like the infamous go down a random pipe or corridor until you get to the next area. Maybe. Overall, not the most exciting stages, but what's here works, and there's still some fun to be had here. Like, I would say the first world is damn near perfect. 1-1 is the definition of a perfect level. Like, every time you compliment someone, just say they're a 1-1, it's the best thing to say. Just a perfectly designed level with next to no flaws. It's no wonder why this is used as a common teaching tool to this day about game design. And 1-2 is arguably even better designed with fun secrets and a slightly harder challenge. 1-3, though not incredible, is still pretty hard to hate, and the same can be said about 1-4, a fun castle stage. However, the rest of the game sadly never reaches that high. Mario 1 is still a decent enough game to this day. Is what I would say if this game didn't feel like I was playing with 5 beers in my system.
I really should stop drinking this.
This game controls like, man, I don't know. I mean, I have played games that control worse than this, but out of all the mainline Mario games, this by far has the worst controls. The game simply isn't that fun to play, and it's not like Donkey Kong or something like that with terrible jumps that feels unique, so you have to play it differently from any other video game. Mario 1 almost controls like a normal game, but it's off just enough that completely throws it off. I still like the game though.
Why can't I make up my mind?
At the end of the day, this game didn't just change gaming, but also saved it. So of course, the question comes into mind, what's next?
Apparently that.
This is a weird game, man. Might as well talk about the improvements first though. You got 4 characters to choose this time. Mario, who controls pretty much the same he did in the last game, just a bit better. Luigi, who jumps way high, but his shoes apparently lack any kind of traction, so great. Toad, who's really fast, but he sure ain't no baller. And Peach, who can just fly. Just fly.
Huh, I wonder which character I should choose. This ant or the literal destroyer of worlds?
Yeah, I got no clue why Peach is so broken, but hey, just having all these characters here is great. The levels this time are far bigger and better designed, with a lot more variety and personality. Tons of new enemies are here, like Shy Guys, Ninjas, and I honestly don't know what this is, I'm not gonna look it up. There's also some new bosses here too, like Mouser and Birdo, both fun fights. And even a brand new big villain, Wart, a giant frog thing. What a wacky cast of characters, but however, there are some missing faces. No Goombas, no Koopas, heck, no enemies as far as I know returned from Mario 1 in this game. Which is really weird since today Goombas and Koopas are so iconic to many games. Heck, I don't even think Koopas missed out on a single Mario game. No Bowser either, no Fire Flowers. The way you defeat enemies is also completely different. Instead of jumping on them, you just toss them around.
There's so much different about this game. I mean, is it even really a Mario game? Oh yeah, it's just a fun gaming fact, never mind.
Yep, Mario 2 isn't actually Mario 2. It is in fact, say it with me, originally a game called Doki Doki Panic in Japan before being localized in the US as Super Mario Bros. 2, with this version eventually being ported to Japan as Super Mario Bros. 2 USA.
But at this point, everyone knows that. I'm pretty sure it's on a citizenship test.
But even though this isn't technically a Mario game, so much of what this game did became series staples for the series, like Shy Guys and Birdo. And even then, it's still a platformer, so it's not the craziest sequel of all time.
Wait, if that's not the real Super Mario Bros. 2, then what is? Well, I don't know, but I'm gonna look at the screen for no reason in particular. Ah!
A mediocre Mario game! The real Mario Bros. 2 released not too long after the first and aimed to be another Mario game. This game uses the same engine as Mario 1, the same graphics, the same everything. If they could, they would use the same name too. The game really only introduces a few things of note to the entire series. So now, I think it's time to introduce a new segment to my videos that will only be used this one time. Is anything that Mario 2 added important at all?
I could just save some time by just saying no for all of them, but where's the fun in that?
First up is the Poison Mushroom, the only new power-up in the game. They added cyanide to Mario. What's next, the A-bomb?
Why am I even surprised?
This is basically the opposite of a regular mushroom. Instead of being helpful, it just hurts you. There's no other purpose other than that. But despite this being just a joke item, it's surprisingly stayed around for quite some time, even making occasional appearances here and there. But I mean, it still doesn't have the biggest effect on the Mario series as a whole, because it's not that common at the end of the day. So I think we would be fine without it. I think. Another new addition is Wind, and it sucks. It's just not fun to work with, and outside of Mario Maker, it never came back, so guess what? It's not that important. And the same can be said about the Super Sprain. Look how cool this thing is, you go so high up. I got one problem though.
Where am I?
This also never came back, and I mean, you can see why. This is just annoying and hardly adds anything to the game in the grand scheme of things. What else was added? Backwards warp zones that send you back worlds for finding them as a secret?
Wait a damn minute, I think this game sucks.
Those are the only new additions to this game, and they all kind of suck. This game's whole shtick is that it's the worst Mario game pretty much. Everything in this game was not designed to be fun, but hard. This was meant to be a challenge to fans of the OG Mario 1, but instead, it only alienated fans with its extreme difficulty since because of that, it never released in the US. Thus, that's how we got our version of Mario 2 and Japan got this. The game wasn't even re-released in the US in its original form until the Wii. It did get remade in Mario All-Stars though, and now it's called Mario Bros. The Lost Levels.
Why couldn't they stay lost?
However, this brings up an important question. If Mario 2 in the US was not a Mario game and Mario 2 in Japan was garbage, then where's the real sequel? The next real step for Mario came in the form of Super Mario Bros. 3. This game is genuinely insane with how well it has aged. The game honestly controls perfectly, and the visuals, it's crazy to think that this released on the same console as this. This wasn't a console generation leap, this was the same generation. Nowadays, you'd be lucky if games looked even a little bit better jumping to a new console. This is an insane step forward, and the gameplay is great too. Tons of great levels that are so creative, with so many different themes and ideas, new enemies, new power-ups. Like the iconic Super Leaf that lets you just fly. Heck, there's even a world map, cutscenes, so many secrets to find in the game, with so much content. More content than most games today. For a game that released nearly 40 years ago, it's crazy that it's aged this well. It's not only playable today, but still fun.
And ultimately, that's the magic of Mario. On their third try, they had everything nailed down pretty much. And that's more than what I can say. I mean, it takes me forever to say the most basic of things. Was that really that hard to say? Jesus Christ.